Hey everybody, I just wanted to make a quick little video to go over a few things we went over in class when we had the delayed opening on Thursday, the 23rd. We went over these things in class and I tried to connect those of you who couldn't come in to the classroom within collaboration, but my laptop would not allow camera or microphone access, so I couldn't connect with you guys, so I apologize for that. But this is basically what we talked about, and I tried to keep it fairly simple because half the class wasn't there. On Tuesday next week, we will go over the multimodal project and the expectations. You're welcome to bring questions. So prior to class, please look over the assignment and the student samples that I've given you. You have a lot of creativity options with this multimodal assignment. So make sure that you kind of review things and then do an inventory of what you enjoy doing, because the whole point of the multimodal project is for you to share your history, family, heritage, cultural connections, community connections in connection with your My Name essay. So hopefully you'll have fun with that, and it's sort of an extension of the My Name essay, but it does not have to be a parallel exact match to your My Name essay. For instance, a lot of students have done cooking videos where they share a recipe from their family or community, culture, heritage. Some people have shared videos about their family. People have set up family reunions and done like sort of a PowerPoint slide to show all the different things. This needs to be intense, but it doesn't need to be something that's too strict. It's meant to give you the freedom to share your heritage and to explore an aspect of your heritage, community, family, just to tie to you and who you are. So anyway, in class, what we did was I opened this up and I reminded everybody that there are 2 videos within the videos presentation folder. And one, please notice that it says fast track. These were online videos that I had already recorded. And when I was sick and then we had the snow issues, I just went ahead and shared those videos. It's the same lesson I teach in the 16-week class. It's just, I think I had alluded to the fast track scheduling in these videos, but you already have your deadline. So it's not that different, but I do mention fast track. So the first video is more of the overview of the project, and then the second video, I actually read along with the Sandra Cisneros My Name essay, and I point out specific aspects of that you can utilize to write your own My Name essay. So please watch those videos. I think they're pretty thorough. They go over a lot of things. Some of it may be a little bit repeated, but I'm trying to just be thorough to make sure everyone's on the same page with the information. So make sure you watch those, and that was part of your makeup when I was sick. There's also a PowerPoint on cultural narratives. I'm going to try to make a video with this one as well, and then that might help you go through the PowerPoint information. I just included this PowerPoint to sort of share the idea of this project. We read someone's analyzation of their own name. That's what the Cisneros My Name essay, where she's reflecting on her own name. Then I have you write your own essay about your name, and then you do a multimodal project where you sort of visualize some aspects of your culture, community, heritage, community, however you choose to do that. Some people choose to bring in their religious community. Some people do their history of something with their family, history of culture. I've had students from the Latino culture share recipes or family activities. I've had people I had a student with a Greek heritage share a recipe, and her whole family kind of was in the video to share different cultural aspects of their family. It was really nice. And then I've had someone of the Southern culture do a whole family reunion plan with t-shirts and all sorts of things to share how they would do their family reunion, t-shirts, types of food, games they would play, how the whole day would be planned out. So I've also had people do podcasts and all sorts of things, but this cultural narratives PowerPoint might help you understand sort of the concept of what we're doing. And then these are the writing process videos, but we've already gone over that. Also, if you go to the assignment materials folder, you'll see all the things you need. This is where all the kind of written things are. You'll have the My Name essay that I go over in that video. You can read it on your own as well and also reference it. I'm going to come back to this. We have the writing process worksheet, which is just a series of prompts where I'm sort of forcing you to reflect on your use of the writing process for this essay. We have the My Name assignment document that just kind of puts out all of the information about the expectations for your essay. And then I have the multimodal project assignment, which we will go over on Tuesday. So I also have some student samples. Look through those. That might help you get some ideas of different things that students have done. So I'm going to go back to this worksheet and pull this up. And this is one thing we went over in class on Thursday. So with every high stakes writing assignment that you do with me, I always have at least one or more than one assignments that are preliminary that sort of help you get started and help you complete the assignment. So I'm making it a little bigger for you. I am home, so Piper's with me. She may appear in the video. She likes to hang out if someone's doing something, so I apologize if you see her. She has her winter sweater on, so she's ready to go. All right, so the writing process worksheet, the whole point of it is for you to kind of communicate with me, to show me your own reflections on your journey with writing, your use of process techniques, and how you kind of plan to process and use the writing process for the essay that you're writing for the My Name essay. And like I said, this is kind of a standard way that I make assignments. You always have something preliminary and then the major or the main assignment. So with this, you're just going to respond to the prompts. This is helping you prepare to write the essay, because remember we talked about in class that you're not going to turn in the first thing you write to me. I should not see that for grading. Under each prompt, you'll have space that you can include your responses. You need to respond to all 5 questions and be thorough. This is a college class. I have expectations for writing. This is a writing class. So we talked about in class on Thursday that my expectation would be just a good hearty paragraph for each of your responses. You want to have sort of a topic sentence that shows the scope of what you're about to discuss or write about. And then you'll have maybe 2 examples. And I want you to use that ICE method of writing where you introduce the point, you give an example or cite a point. In this case, you won't have research, but you're giving an example. And then you explain the example in relation to your response. So I think having maybe 1 good, very thorough example or 2 medium-sized examples would be a good thorough paragraph for this. So you're going to do that 5 times. They're worth 10 points each. So if you just give me 1 sentence, you're not going to get, you might get 2-3 points. But for the full 10 points, you need to do a hearty paragraph. So that's 50% of this assignment. So there are 5 things that you have to answer. What parts of the writing process have you used in the past? Just reflect. If you haven't used it, tell me why. Were you never taught it? Were you taught it and just didn't do it? Why didn't you do it? Be thorough with your explanation. What parts of the writing process have you not used in the past and why? So hopefully you have used at least something in number 1, and then in number 2, you can focus more thoroughly on what you haven't used and why you haven't used it. And again, all this is honesty. There's no judgment. It's just asking you to reflect so that maybe you have an internal dialogue as to why you are or are not using something. And then hopefully this may spark your use of the writing process when you write. Number 3 is, what parts of the writing process do you plan to implement in your next writing assignment? So I hope that you can explain what you plan to use for the My Name essay. What is your current process for editing and revising your written work? Some of you may not have a process yet, but let's say you just have that favorite English teacher that you take something to, or you always have your brother or sister look at something, or your best friend. You can explain any of that. This does not have to be super technical. If you use Grammarly, how do you use Grammarly? So whatever you're using to edit or review your paper, explain that. If you do no editing or revising, I really want you to reflect deeply on that, because you should be doing something. But if you don't do anything, tell me why, and tell me how that's turned out with your writing. How's that affected your grades? Or, are you proud of what you turn in when you haven't really reviewed it? So just reflect, share, be specific. And then lastly, what will the most challenging part of using the writing process be? Of course, it's required for this class, so I am requiring that you use it. We do a lot of strategies to implement the steps. So just explain, what challenges you think you may face. Now, here's the easy part. For the other 50 points of this assignment, all you have to do is show me an image of your pre-writing. So hopefully, and I've really tried to push this because I think there's a definite connection between the tactile, hands-on movement of writing and processing thought. Like we've talked about in class many times, I use a pile of electronics. I have laptops, I have an iPad, I use my phone, I take a lot of electronic notes, but I also do the tactile exercise of actually writing things out. So a lot of times I'll have my computer out like I do now, and then I'll have sort of a pad of paper or some scratch paper of some sort. I'll make notes on that, and it kind of helps me through the thought process of writing or thinking through things. So whatever you use for your pre-writing, it could be lists that you've used, it could be some sort of circular map, notes, free writing, anything that you've done, take a picture of it and insert it under this image. So that's the other 50 points, very easy. So that's the preliminary assignment. This is due next week, and I did put a note. Go back. I did send an announcement and an email, and it's in the folder where I explained that I would take some things late due to me being sick and the snow. So I'm keeping the deadline the same, but I do have a little grace period in there where if you don't feel quite ready to turn it in, I'm giving you a couple days extra time on the preliminary writing process worksheet as well as the My Name essay. So just check those deadlines and you'll see my notes. Let's go back to the worksheet. I want to show you something that I showed in class. All right, so anytime I give you any kind of worksheet to fill out, you can just use that as your assignment. But what I would like for you to get in the habit of doing is taking out sort of taking out my directions and making the document your own. I'm going to make this a little smaller like a title. And then we were talking in class that I want you to also, I'm having to manipulate the font sizes here. I want you to get in the habit of practicing the MLA header. So we kind of went over this in class, and I thought this preliminary worksheet would be a great time to get a little practice with that before you write the essay. And then I could make notes, or it would give you a chance to ask questions. We did have a couple questions in class about it. So here's the MLA header. You're going to do your name. So let's pretend I'm doing this assignment. So I put my name. Then I'm going to put the instructor's name. I'm the instructor, so let's just pretend the instructor's name is Jones. So I'm going to type in Jones. I might have to manipulate this the fonts a little bit. Then you're going to put the class name and section number, and then you're going to put the date. So the protocol for dates and headers is usually the due date. I'm not super picky about that. I usually tell students, if you do an assignment a few days ahead of the deadline and you happen to put that date down, I'm not going to count it wrong. There are some instructors who are very meticulous about that, and they're very picky. And if you don't put the exact deadline on your date for the header, they will count it wrong. I'm okay with this if it's within a few days of the deadline. So let's say it's due next week. I can't remember the due date, but let's say it's due I do it on the 30th, which I think it's due before the 30th, but that's just an indication of, a date there, but it should be within a few days of the deadline. So I'm going to fix these. In MLA, you're always going to use Times New Roman 12-point font. So I'm just going to do that because I want, again, this is kind of a practice moment here. And then I noticed that the spacing's not good. So this is a paragraph manipulator tool. So you just go in there, put it at double space. And then the last thing, this doesn't have to be bold. I'm going to take that out of bold. So then the last thing you want to do is you want to insert the page number. So I go over here to page numbers and I tell it top of the page, and it's going to be over on the far right. And then for MLA, you have to add your last name. It's not in the proper Times New Roman font, so you have to go in and manipulate it to Times New Roman. And I know this is a lot of steps, but this is what a proper MLA header should look like. So again, with all of your assignments with me, I want you to utilize the proper MLA header and the proper MLA page numbering and the proper MLA fonts and sizes and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, whenever I give you a worksheet, just manipulate the worksheet. You don't have to get a whole new file to type everything in. You're welcome to copy and paste it into another file, but I've already sort of given it to you. Here you can just kind of enter and then type your answer in. Oops, oh, whatever, mind. But you can also change the color with your responses or make it not bold to make it stand out. So hopefully that helps you see what kind of my expectations for this preliminary assignment. If students do these preliminary assignments, they're not graded super harshly because it's more of a communication method between us so that I can see how you're managing the assignment. And it's a way for me to give some feedback prior to the final deadline. But it's also a grade. So like you need to take it seriously, but the main thing that I'm looking for is full communication, full expression of answering questions and doing the steps. So if you have any questions, let me know. So there was that one. And then the only other thing we went over in class, which I believe is in the video, but I'm going to open this up and just go over the few things we went over in class. Again, I like to make this a little bigger so it takes up more of the screen. So this sort of is, every assignment that you get from me is going to have an assignment sheet with everything explained, and the guidelines and everything. So here's just reminding you to use the MLA formatting, include the header, double space, use the proper font. I think I pulled up the wrong one. Previous to like a couple of semesters ago, I made this a 1 to 2 page essay because Sandra Cisneros, her My Name essay was about a 1-page essay. But then I started having a lot of trouble with students not being able to really feel like they had expressed themselves fully in that short of an amount of space. So I made it a 2 to 3 page assignment, and I need to change this out for y'all, so I will replace it. We talked about this in class the other day, and it's not that I'm trying to add writing to you. I just personally, as the instructor, found that students were having big challenges with reducing their writing to 1 page for this. They didn't feel like they were able to express themselves as well. And then the students who kind of did 1 page, a lot of times they would get to the end of the first page and they would just stop. And they didn't really continue explaining fully. So I changed it to 2 to 3 pages. I do like for you to be compliant with the guidelines that I set, because that's just a good habit to have with completing assignments in college. Most college instructors set out expectations and guidelines, and then part of your grade is determined through your completion of those guidelines within the parameters. So that's why I changed it to 2 to 3. But I told them yesterday that, like, if your paper is 2 3/4 of a page, like, I'm going to count that as 2 pages for this one. This is a creative piece. Everyone kind of approaches that a little differently because they have a different relationship with their name. Some people have a lot of things to say. Some people are more brief. One thing I wanted to point out, and I said this in class on Thursday, Cisneros is a professional writer. She's used to editing and developing and working with words and phrasing. And for some of you, this is your first creative writing. So maybe it's your first major writing assignment. So sometimes you may not have those tools yet to really edit it down and really master the phrasing. So you may need to have a little bit more space to say what you want to say. So that's why I did expand it. Include a title. This is a big one. So a lot of students, when they include a title in an essay, they I don't know, they just copy over whatever the assignment is. So you would get points taken off if your title was My Name Essay or English 111 essay. That's too generic. Think about when you are trying to stream something on Netflix and you're like, hey, I think I want to watch a comedy. I want to watch a movie or whatever. What if everything you pulled up that you were going to stream said comedy movie? That doesn't tell you anything about the movie. We look at titles to get an indication of kind of what's to come and what we're about to watch or read. So make sure that your title reflects your controlling idea of this essay. So you want it to be a little creative. You want it to reflect. So one of the examples I gave in class the other day is, let's say your name is Frank and you have always hated the name Frank and you have chosen to go by Leo. You've chosen a name that you feel more comfortable with. And so you're going to write more about your connection to the name Leo because you don't like the name Frank. Okay, so maybe your title would be Don't Call Me Frank. Okay, so that's kind of creative and that kind of sets the mood for what's to come. Okay, all right. This is supposed to be a multiple paragraph paper, and I've included some reminders here that come from the lens of a standard essay in a college class. But I want to remind you that these are loose interpretations because this is a creative piece. So every paragraph does not have to be parallel to the other one, like it might have to be in a standard research or academic essay. While I have put that I'd like to have, topic sentences with main ideas, you can have a little bit more of a looser rein on that because it's creative. So this is not going to look like a 5-paragraph essay. This is going to look more like how Cisneros' essay does. If you go and look back at her essay, while she doesn't have the standard typical topic sentence with main idea for each start to each paragraph, she does indicate in the first sentence kind of what is to come, or the tone or the flavor of that section of her piece that she's written. So that's what I mean here about the topic sentences and the main ideas. We're a little looser with it because it's creative, but you are the guide for the reader. Always remember that. You're in control, and you don't want chaos with your reader. If you have chaos with your reader, once they finish reading it, they are lost. They have no idea what they just read. So your job as the writer, when I'm saying these things like build the paragraphs, build the topic sentences, your job as the writer is to connect things for the reader and to guide them properly. While this isn't a typical 5-paragraph or full research essay like you do in most college classes, this is still an essay. And so don't give me just one paragraph. That would be the wrong thing to do. A lot of students just give me one long paragraph and they're done. It needs to be multiple paragraphs, but you can have shorter paragraphs. You can include dialogue if you would like if you've had a conversation about your name with someone or a situation that you remember. So it's more creative, but you still need to have some standard guidance with the writing. The other thing I wanted to remind you of is that this is not a Google essay. This is not you going to names.com and then copying over whatever they say your name means. We did talk about this in class. If your mother or family or whoever named you chose your name from names.com, or chose your name from the Bible, or chose your name from some document, of course you can reference that. That's fine. That's what really happened. But I don't want you to turn this into let me Google real quick and get all my answers. This is more of a reflective piece, and I want it to come from you and your experiences with your name. If your mom didn't know what to name you and she Googled a bunch of ideas and you want to explain that in your essay, that is perfectly fine, because again, that is your experience. But I really want you to steer clear of falling in that trap that many high school students they kind of fall into that because they're just trying to finish the assignment. And they'll put according to dictionary.com, according to mynames.com, according to Google Scholar, whatever. That's not what we're doing here. This needs to be according to you, what your name means, or according to who you've talked to in your family, what your family history is, what the origin of you and your name might be. Also, feel free to use first person, but avoid the you. If you would write something like, when you hear my name, that's okay. That's kind of a direct thing. I know it's a little bit more casual. Or when you meet my family, or something like that. Like, I may never meet your family, so you're speaking directly to me, and that's kind of an inaccurate way to phrase. So try to avoid the you. It tends to be a crutch for a lot of writers, so I want you to start breaking that habit. And just I is fine. I, me, us, all of those things. That is fine to use, but avoid the second person you. Okay, so I think those are about all the things that we talked about in class. Here's sort of two final things. Blackboard can be a little tricky. All of you work on different devices, different brands of laptops, different types of laptops, or PCs, or some people write on an iPad or something. Please make sure you're using Microsoft Word. JCC gives you Office 365, and it has the software, Microsoft Word, the most up-to-date available. You can download that into your device. I know some of you use Chrome products from high schools, or you may own a Chrome product. Obviously, Chrome products you cannot download things into, so but you can use Microsoft Word through the school connection of Office 365. When you turn in your work, if it's not in Microsoft Word, I won't be able to see it. It won't go into Blackboard properly. This says DOCX, and for years DOCX worked just fine, but then we started to see a lot of issues with formatting. So I think it's really better to do the PDF files. If you do DOCX, it may go in just fine, and it may have the formatting altered. The problem is, in this class you are graded for formatting, so I think PDF is your best bet. Last semester we did start having a few students who are having issues with their formatting, even with a PDF. So I don't know if some updates are happening with, technology kind of has to match. Systems need to match for it to work, and I guess sometimes things are not matching. If you have a Chromebook and you're using Google Docs, and you try to load that in as your assignment, I will not be able to see it. It'll just appear as a blank document. So if you're using Google Docs, you're going to have to convert it to Microsoft Word. If you have a Mac, don't do anything in Pages. That it'll take it, but it won't show me anything. It will not open in Blackboard. So you'll have to use Microsoft Word. I have a Mac, and I just downloaded Microsoft Word into it, and it works fine with Blackboard. I was trying to think if there was anything else. Okay, with your browser, use Chrome or Firefox. If you do have a Mac, avoid using Safari. In the past, that has kind of been problematic with some people submitting things. The thing that I would want you to do, and I'm going to try to emphasize this a lot this semester, is when you submit an assignment, there is a way that you can click on it after you have submitted it, and then you can view the assignment to make sure it did go into Blackboard and it can be seen, And B, make sure that everything looks right. If you see something that doesn't look right, you are welcome. Remember, you have multiple unlimited revisions. So you can resubmit as many times as you want to up until when the assignment is graded. So as long as you hit that first deadline until I grade it, I don't care how many times you've submitted it. Some students submit 10 times, and that's fine. I grade the last thing that was submitted. So it is your responsibility to check to see that that thing can be seen, that it was submitted, and that there is a document visible. Because if I open it and there's nothing there, you run the risk of getting a 0. Because if I have nothing to grade, that, what do? I don't have anything to grade. So that some of that responsibility falls on you to check behind yourself with what has been submitted. Just a couple of tips for success. Make sure you check everything. Check spelling, grammar, sentence structure, formatting, all the things whenever you submit something. Make sure that you've checked your details. Make sure that you've read it out loud to yourself, reviewed it, make sure it makes sense, save the document correctly, and submit it correctly. And then I've got all the kind of due dates, all the little things that we've discussed in the video there. If you have any questions, let me know. And just one last thing, remember that if you want to bring in a paper copy of your work or a portion of your work prior to the deadline, you can bring that to me. And either while we sit together in class or in an office hour or a time we've decided to work together, I will give you feedback. So I am a resource for you, as well as the JCC writing portal and the tutors at JCC. So the tutors are in the library space. You can do appointments virtually, or you can do walk-ins at the library. And then the writing portal is you just go to over here, library and Jaguar tutoring for students. It's going to be a little slow. All right, that is not correct. We're not doing that. Hold on. Let me get back to our class and I'll show you. I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, what I clicked on is, I think if you click on that, that's how you get in touch with them for online virtual things. You just register with them. I have a resources folder I'll put up there a little bit where you can see it up there. All right, here is the portal. You just click on that. You go down. You start. I can't take you all the way through, but once you get to this form, you just fill it out. You tell them what course, what instructor. You can tell them when it's due. You can also ask for certain levels of help. So you can click through that and tell them what help you need. Most of the students that use this say they get a response within a day. So can't wait too close to the deadline, but give yourself a few days and get a review, and that helps. There are also some links in here for the tutoring. All right, well, thanks a lot. And for those of you who missed class on Thursday, that's fine. Totally understand about the transportation. And I'll see you in class on Tuesday. Thanks so much.